because you had your best year that year by far. I think you were 14-10.
Yes, sir.
And shot 39% from three, which is not always your way.
Yeah.
And then in game 7, again, I was rooting against LeBron and company to come back. Obviously, we can talk about that. But you go crazy. You have the game of your life. You go 32, 15, and 9 or
Yes,
right?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And made 6 out of 8 threes. You made 6 out of 8. And I think you 11 of 15 from the floor. Yes. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's elite, Skip. That's elite knowledge right there.
Hey.
I like that.
Okay. So think about this. You're at home, game 7 of the NBA Finals, and you have a first ballot Hall of Famer kind of performance and output. And unfortunately, your star, Steph, had a bad fourth quarter. He goes 1 of 6 from the floor and 1 of 5 from 3, not Steph Curry-like numbers, and it just wasn't good enough. And he had a bad turnover that he just threw it in the third row, and it wasn't quite enough. And it still goes down to the wire, and Kyrie finally said, okay, that's enough of that. I got this.
Tough shot.
Okay, and he made a shot. But what got lost in translation was that I always think about this. You had the game of, wouldn't you say, is that not game of life?
No, for sure. And I think on that stage as well, right?
Yeah.
Like game 7 of the NBA Finals for all the marbles. Also with what transpired leading up to it, right? Like, I think in going into that, like that's just my way of making it right. You know, like I got to go out here.
Well, you did because you obviously got suspended for game 4,
game 5.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, this is my chance to make it right. You know, like I don't want to lose this series. Let them come back 3-1, all the things. Game 5. So how do I make this right? And I knew I needed to play well. Now, can I foresee going out there and going 6 for 8 from 3? No, you know, not really. Or finishing with 32 points. I can see the 15 boards, 9 assists, no problem.
Absolutely.
With 32 points, you know, that hasn't been my role on this team.
No,
like I don't have a play. There's not a single play in our playbook for me to score. You know, so
I understand.
You know,
no,
so,
I got it. I got it.
I can't foresee going for the 32 points.
And I remember one Saturday night, real quick, digression. This is going back a ways. You were at Oklahoma City against Durant and company, and you just lost it at halftime in the locker room. Like, well, do you guys even want me out there or not?
Yes.
Do I have a place or do I not have a place on this team?
Absolutely.
Right?
And I was like, I took 2 shots in the first half. I had 9 rebounds, 8 assists at halftime. 0 for 2 from the field, 1 point. I was 1 for 2 from the free throw line. And he showed both of the shots on film. It was like, Draymond, dude, I took 2 shots. You gonna show them both? And so, you know, like,
so
for me,
I didn't know
what
that.
happened.
Yeah, so that's when I lost. I'm like, I took 2 shots. You're gonna tell me they were both bad shots? I'm wide open at the top of the key, you know. And I lost it. You know, I was pissed. But that goes to show, right? Like there's no place for me to score in our offense. So then when I scored that game like that, but like I said, I knew in that moment, I got to do whatever I have to do for us to win. If that score, I'm going to go score. If it's rebound, whatever it is, I have to do all that I can to win. Yeah. Because if we lose, it's still all going to be my fault.
It would be. Yeah.
You know? And so how do I fix the problem?
Yeah.
It's come out and play great. Unfortunately, it's one of probably the better game 7s, especially in the NBA Finals that we've ever seen, that no one remembers.
I agree.
How I look at it, though, Skip, well-deserved and rightfully so. You know, you don't just get to fix it.
Okay.
You know, you don't.
You think the basketball gods had something to do with it?
1,000%.
Okay.
You don't get to just go out and say, "Oh, now I'm going to play a great game and make this right." It like that's not life. It doesn't go that way. Okay. Right? When I look at my journey through basketball, what an NBA Finals MVP would have done for me in my career, my resume, and like what it would have done for the rest of my life. Would have been life changing.
You would have had it.
Right?
You're one shot away from MVP.
But guess
Yep.
what? Was that the change that I really needed in my life? You know, and so when I take a step back and I look at it, as frustrating as it is, as big of a what if as it is, I live so comfortably with it because I know it wasn't the thing for me.
Okay.
What happens to us if I win Finals MVP? What happens in 2017? What happens in 2018? Am I still on that team in 2026? You know, like it changes
It would.
the landscape of everything.
Okay.
It changes how much money I'm going to command. It changes all of these things, right? And so it's very easy to sit there and say, man, I should have this Finals MVP and what it would have done for me in my career. But we very rarely as human beings do we look at the other side and say, well, what was the impact?
Well, now that he put it like that, yeah, I can argue that them winning could have absolutely hurt Draymond's resume. Now, hear me out. Basically, let's say Ray won that game. Draymond had a high percent chance of winning that Finals MVP. He probably would have won it, right? So, sure, he'd have a Finals MVP on his resume, which is great for his career, right? And also, he probably would have been able to ask for more money since he's a Finals MVP now. But I think he got that more so. Let's be real. We all know he got that because of being on the floor with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. All the attention was on them, so Draymond were able to get wide open threes. And granted, you know, to him, he made them. But let's say, okay, I'm in Finals MVP now. Instead of the $20 million a year that he's getting, let's say his agent negotiate like, nah, my client is a Finals MVP. He wants $30 million per year. And, you know, that's kind of what he was saying. Is he still on the same team? Because, you know, let's say maybe Golden State would have said, nah, we're not paying you that. Let's just say that they would say that, right? Now he goes to another team. Let's say the Toronto Raptors was willing to pay him that, right? I can make a strong argument that he may get exposed there because Draymond is a complementary, piece. He's a piece that complements another player. Like he complements Steph Curry very well. As great as Steph Curry is, Draymond enhances him so much to make him even greater than what he is. That's how effective Draymond game is. However, you send him to a team that's not very good. They don't have a weapon like Steph Curry. They don't have weapons like Klay Thompson or whatever on there. He's not going to change the game for them as much because, the pieces have to fit. So let's just say if something like that happens, he only gets 2 rings instead of 4. He could still squeeze out a defensive player of the year, maybe. But I would say even that would be harder to get because you're in a smaller market now and they're not paying as much attention to you. So that plays a factor. And then let's just say his career goes downhill. That's very much a possibility if Golden State won that title that year.
On all the good that's happened to me in my life since that moment.
Well said.
If I didn't go through that at that time. And so I accept it, as frustrating as it is, as much as I would want that on my resume as my belt, as validating of a stamp as that would be, it didn't fit the journey that I've been on.
I love you saying that.
It didn't fit it.
And embracing that.
And so,
That's probably true. And I must say, if you'll allow me to, that when you did lose it for a moment in game 4 and you did get suspended for game 5, you became my all-time hero because you got mad at LeBron and you called him a bitch. And
There you go.
and I said, that's my guy right there. And he can be occasionally a bitch, but that's just me.